just a little bit after 1 o'clock, and I'll keep on letting folks in. I want to introduce you to Karen Sphar. Karen's the Executive Vice President of the Southport Oak Island Area Chamber of Commerce, and invited Karen today to talk about really the development, the history of the chamber and their activities and responsibilities. So, Karen has a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to take a moment to get that PowerPoint presentation up. Karen, if you're ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All righty. Well, first of all, thank you for having me this morning, or this afternoon, that is. It's always a pleasure to speak to the Southport Historical Society, and you guys do such great work in our community, and I do appreciate you preserving history, because I am not a very good preserver of history, and I've realized the importance of it later as I've gone through 30-some years at the chamber. I wished I was more diligent in saving and preserving some of the history as we went through. But I thought I'd start out today with just a little bit of history on the history of chambers of commerce. The first chamber of commerce was founded in 1599 in France as the Chambre of the Commerce, and this is it. This is in France, the photo, and I thought that was kind of a pretty photo of the place in France that the Chamber of Commerce originated in 1599. The world's oldest English-speaking Chamber of Commerce and the oldest Chamber of Commerce in North America is in Halifax Chamber of Commerce in Providence of Nova Scotia, and it was founded in 1750. The oldest Chamber of Commerce in the United States is that of the state of New York, and it was formed in 1768 when New York was still a British colony. The first city chamber was formed in 1773 in Charleston, South Carolina. And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, interestingly enough, was formed in 1912 after a message to Congress from President William Taft, who encouraged the need for a centralized organization in touch with associations and chambers of commerce throughout the country, able to keep purely American interest in closer touch with different phases of commercial affairs. And today, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the world's largest business federation, representing the interest of more than 3 million businesses of all sizes, sectors, regions, as well as state and local chambers and associations. And Bob, if you'll go to the next slide, please. In April of 1900, a meeting was held in Southport for the purpose of establishing a Chamber of Commerce. And Margaret Harper was kind enough to give us the minute book from that Chamber of Commerce. And we have donated that to the Southport Historical Society for preservation. And I do appreciate Bob's work on getting that digitized so that we could read it at our leisure. We know from the minutes taken at that meeting that the purpose was to foster and promote all industrial enterprises and to encourage and invite new industries. The first regular meeting of the chamber was held in May 8th of 1900 at the office of the Pilot Association on Bay Street. And the first president was MC Guthrie, and they had 11 members. And they were very focused on the railroad line to Southport and advocating for businesses until they disbanded in October of 1912. In 1939, there looked like there was a declaration to form a Brunswick County Chamber, but I don't have any other further information on that, so it must not have took per se. But the Southport Oak Island Area Chamber of Commerce did take. And in 1976, it was formed. Our first president was John Barbie, and he is pictured there in the top right. He is actually at the U.S. Open King Mackerel Tournament, which he also chaired. This 1977, our president was Morris Farrell, and Ed Harper was in 1978, Bob Ferris in 1979, and Judy White was the president in 1980. Mr. Barry, Wayne Barry in Southport, he was the president in 1981-82. We were officially incorporated, though, in 1980. Back then, they were a little loosey-goosey on the paperwork, I think. So you know, they kind of formed a few years after they were actually working in the community. We are the oldest Chamber of Commerce in Brunswick County, and this is a picture of our building that was, we've had a couple different locations. That particular building, I think, was it was either on the Live Oak Village Shopping Center property or on the 4801 property. They formed our Chamber of Commerce specifically to extend the tourist season into the fall and spring. For those that remember the old days, pretty much all the businesses closed down from Labor Day to Memorial Day, but a few. And so their goal was to extend that season and bring more tourists here, as well as more residents. We are an independent nonprofit organization. Some people think we're part of the government or under the U.S. Chamber, but we're not. We are a membership supported organization, and we answer to our members and we work for our members. I'll go to the next slide. The Chamber has been in 4 locations, the first being inside an office at Security Savings and Loan building downtown, which is now the First National Bank. The second location was the Live Oak Shopping Center. The third was across from the movie theater on Long Beach Road, and you can see from the picture on the left, the destruction of that building for the new bridge and road on Long Beach Road. That location is now a retention pond, and there's a nice little alligator that lives in there. We cut the ribbon on our new location, our current location at 4433 Long Beach Road on November 14th of 2011. And it was only thanks to a generous donation from Dr. Brad Heileman that we were able to purchase an existing building and do an addition to accommodate the ever-growing needs of the Chamber. Dr. Heileman actually owned the property that was underneath the old Chamber building on the left. And interestingly enough, it was deeded so Mr. Suggs had actually donated the property originally to the Chamber and deeded it that it was, as long as it was the Chamber of Commerce, that we didn't have to pay for the land. When DOT came through, Dr. Heileman actually owned it, and he was kind enough again to give us the land proceeds. So we not only got the proceeds from the building, we also got the proceeds from the land under that. And we can't thank him enough for that, because now we are debt-free on our land and our building. So that really helps out a nonprofit organization, I can tell you. We can go to the next slide. There's a young me on the left. That was quite a few years ago. The Chamber's had 6 paid executives over the years. Patrick Dowling, who was I think our first executive, and he left and went to the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce, where he retired and has since passed away. Connie Leggett, I don't know if any of you remember Connie, and then Steve Foster, Doug Kerr, and this is Sabrina Hodges on the very right, and myself. Next slide. Now, the Southport Oak Island Chamber of Commerce and the South Brunswick Chamber of Commerce, which is in Charlotte, formed a committee called the Brunswick County Travel Pack Committee. So I'm going to go through some of the promotional efforts that we've done through the years. This travel pack was formed so that we could promote the county as a whole for destination for visitors. And we had, let's see, this particular brochure and the one on the left is a golf brochure. One of their most successful promotions was the I-40 Blitz. And that was in 1990 when the segment from Raleigh to Wilmington opened up, because they did I-40 in sections, and the last section was that section from into Wilmington. And in 1990 it opened up, and so we wanted the people of North Carolina to know how easy it was to get on I-40 and get to our area. So we went on a blitz. We started in the mountains, and they stopped at every radio station they could, TV station, newspapers, any place that would have them. And they took a swag full of, or a beach bucket full of swag for Brunswick County in there. I think there might have been some Brunswick stew or something else in there. And it was, the whole purpose was to create a buzz, and they got a lot of good advertising, and people then knew that they could get from Raleigh down to the beaches in Southport on I-40 pretty easy. Eventually, their $60,000 a year budget that they got from the county for marketing, it wasn't enough to keep them in the game per se. A lot of beach communities were outspending them, and they just weren't able to make enough impact. So the two chambers in the county, ourselves and the chamber in Charlotte, we reached out to our legislative delegation to create the Brunswick County Tourism Development Authority. And that authority is funded by 1% countywide accommodations tax, which creates over $1 million in marketing dollars to promote the entire county. So we were excited that we got some monies to be able to stay in the game per se. Next slide, please. We also worked with North Carolina Southeast. That was, North Carolina Southeast is one of the regional economic development agencies created by the state of North Carolina for industrial development. Margaret Rudd Bishop was instrumental in expanding their efforts into tourism development. So these are the brochures that they produced as we were trying to get them to do more marketing of tourism. They have since kind of gone back to more industrial development, and they just don't do as much tourism development anymore. Next slide. You might recognize the lady on the right, Miss Mary Ellen, my model for the Picture Perfect guide for this year. We use several mechanisms to promote the area now. We use social media. We have all of our platforms on social media. We have a website, which when you have events, make sure that you get us the information, and we'll put that on our website. We have quite a big viewing of that website. And the calendar is pretty in depth for community events. So if you are looking for something to do, it's always a good place to start. That website is southport-oakisland.com. So just go there and check out the events calendar, and you'll maybe see something you want to go do. And we do publish any of the nonprofit organizations events up there for free, so we just need to know about it. Go ahead to the next slide. I'm just going to show you some examples of brochures through the years that we've done. Let's see, and we try, now we try to rotate between Southport and the beach. So one year we'll have Southport on the cover, one year we'll have Oak Island on the cover. And go ahead to the next slide. So through the years, we've also tried to start working on the regional film and state commissions to try to get more films and things filmed here in the Southport Oak Island area. We've been a little successful on that. In the early years, it was very low tech. They didn't want digital photography. They just wanted like books put together with random pictures of sites that they may want to use. And it wasn't always the waterfront, and it always wasn't like downtown. It might have just been a gas station. So we compiled all those photos and sent the books to the Wilmington Film Office, and they were able to use that to try to attract some different film locations here in the Southport Oak Island area. Next slide. The Southport Oak Island Area Chamber of Commerce also created the Committee of 100. It's a 501c3 organization. It's housed here at the Chamber, and it created the Southport Oak Island Industrial Park up to 11. The first corporation it attracted to the area was Tritech Forensics. They moved from the Research Triangle Park in 1993 because the owners wanted to live on Bald Island. Those owners sold that company to another group whose owners lived in Wilmington. So in 2017, they moved it again to the Leland area to be a little closer to their home. Today, the industrial park is full of businesses, and Generations Church is actually on the corner there. Next slide. Today, the Southport Oak Island Chamber of Commerce is a thriving organization. We have close to 500 members. We're very member-centric philosophy. Our core mission is creating business opportunities. We do this through an ever-changing program of work. We react to what our members want us to do. We had the Coastal Home and Lifestyle Showcase last Saturday, which we were talking about earlier. And thank you, Mary Ellen, for volunteering your time. And we appreciate the Friends of the Library for coming out and being one of the participants. The Coastal Consumer Showcase, we moved that to January. We have been doing that particular show. It's an indoor show in March for many years, and we moved that to January. So now we'll do 2 shows a year that the business community can come out and meet new customers. So we'll do one in January and one in May. And we also do our weekly Faces of Commerce videos, and those are on our Facebook page and our YouTube channels. In May, our Faces of Commerce videos had over 14,000 views. So we're very proud of that. And we'll just come to, we have a schedule, and we ask our businesses who wants to be interviewed. And some are pretty shy, but we kind of pull it out of them. And they're actually kind of interesting because you learn why some people started their business. And I always find that kind of interesting. Next slide. And of course, we're a Chamber of Commerce. We do ribbon cuttings. We do anniversary celebrations, groundbreakings. That's what we're all about. And it's fun. We have a ribbon, we have scissors, and we like to travel. Anybody that wants one, we're happy to do it. So even if your organization is celebrating, or your business is celebrating a milestone, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. This particular one up in the left was 40 years, which is significant for a business. We like to come out and either cut a ribbon or celebrate it with a celebratory picture with your big balloons there. And those balloons are actually donated by Party Time here in Southport. So we're very thankful for that. Next slide. Networking opportunities is always a big part of being a Chamber of Commerce. We have several meetings throughout the month. Business Connections is one. It's a referral group. They meet every Tuesday at noon here at the Chamber. Before COVID, and when I say a referral group, they go around the room and they refer people to other people in the room that can help other people do business. So it's like if Lucinda's a painting contractor and she comes across somebody who needs some construction work, she'll give that name to Mr. Anderson or whoever the contractor might be, and that she is working with, and then they'll go out and do that. That's a referral. And in that group in 2019, that was prior to COVID, they closed $1.2 million in new sales between the group. So everybody that attends, that's $1.2 million that they passed to each other in that room. It's a significant benefit for being a member of the chamber, coming to those events. And you can actually attend 2 networking events for free before, we like to call it, it's kind of like your free trial period, and then we'll ask you for a check. But Coffee with the Girls is held monthly, and that's another networking opportunity. And we say with the girls so the guys can come. And then we do our monthly networking after hours, which we hope to come back to in July of this year after COVID. So the Coffee with the Girls and the Business Connections, they already are meeting. The business networking after hours is a little more social, and it's got food involved. So we're going to wait till probably July before we bring that one back. Next slide. We also like to recognize when our business community is doing well. And so we have a couple different awards and recognitions. The Golden Pineapple Award, if you have been in a business and they have given you good customer service, we encourage you to nominate any business for a Golden Pineapple. Now, we do limit the ones that do receive the Golden Pineapple to our chamber members, but we will let the business know if they're not a member that they were recognized for their good customer service. But the pineapple is the international symbol for hospitality. So that's why we chose pineapple. We also do annual awards. On the right is Island Spas. That this year they were the Small Business of the Year. We have a Small Business Customer Service of the Year award we do, and also a Nonprofit of the Year award. Next slide. And we do major events. The U.S. Open King Mackerel Tournament. It has a $2 million economic impact on the area. This year we were able to do the Christmas by the Sea Parade as a drive-by. I think we had 1,000 cars come through. And then the Oak Island Lighthouse Run, we're hoping to bring back in of 2022. Next slide. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Bob, you're muted.
I don't have a question. In your first slides, you talked about MC Guthrie, and I think you might have been the first when I was a Southport chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Big Mike Guthrie is also known for being the person who made the suggestion that the town's name be changed from Smithville to Southport.
Oh, wow.
So in part of the town, he is acclaimed, and another part of the town, he's taken to task for making that change. And of course, they wanted to do that. He wanted to do that. Others wanted to do that to help Southport become the major port of the South.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that chamber was very active in trying to get the railroad in the port.
Bob, I'm reading in the chat, and Pat and Jim Conklin said no question, but thank you for the presentation. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Karen, I do have a question or a comment. Since I work on Fridays, to me, it's just amazing how many telephone calls we get and how many people come in for information. So that's always interesting to me. And I will say that Southport Historical Society's self-guided walking tour is a popular request. And when people come in the lobby, that kind of jumps out at them. And a lot of people take that and come back and enjoy it, or say, oh yes, we did that the last time we came and we're going to do it again. So even with COVID, people are calling and asking questions about the area, and it's very interesting from the different places people call. I think I've even had people call from Canada and England wanting one of our picture perfect guides that have all of our businesses in and the area information.
Mary Ellen does a wonderful job too. She's got a lot of knowledge, of course, and people just gravitate to her, and she does a great job with that. We do run a welcome center out here on Long Beach Road, and we do have quite a few people that call us or email us or just contact us in general, just stop in. The welcome center is open.
Any other questions?
Bob, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. As you know, I always have a comment and a story. As some of you who joined in was it last week or 2 weeks ago that I did my Tuesday talk about my grandfather's business? You know, some people say, well, it's something new that we depend on tourists in town. And I said, no, my grandfather depended on them in the Depression for people to come to town. So it's good that we see that tourism is not just a new thing that some people think. It's something that has been depended on for a long time, and now you know why people started it and had the first meeting back when they did. So I thought that was interesting. It made me connect it together. Karen said she wished she had thought about history in when she first started, and I think that happens to all of us. I mean, it took me a while to get interested in history, and then you get to where you wish you'd have asked people who are no longer around more questions and stuff. So as I will always say, write your own story, make sure your children and grandchildren and know all about it. You can tell my age by the color of my hair, and my brother is older, but it's been interesting to talk with him about things that we remember and things that we find out about history and about businesses and about different things in the area when you do that. And that's all I had. I just had that comment.
All right. Karen, thank you very, very much. Before we leave, let me give you the lineup for the rest of the month. On the 17th of May at 7 p.m., Southport storyteller Mike Royal will be talking about one of his stories about the wonder years in Southport. And that's Monday the 17th at 7 p.m. The next day, on the 18th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think you know this person, Liz Fuller. Mm-hmm. Going to do an armchair history presentation titled Love and War. World War II turned Fort Caswell back into a military base and Southport into a military town. So Liz is going to talk about the stories of life, love, and loss from Southport's greatest generation. Looking forward to that. And that's Tuesday the 18th at 1 o'clock. And then on Thursday, May 27th at 6:30 in the evening is a society, we have 5 general meetings a year. So this is for members and friends to participate. And the guest speaker is going to be Jenny Bryant. You may know that name because Jenny got a good deal of publicity a few months ago when she was named the Brunswick County Teacher of the Year, and then she was also honored at the next level as the Southeast North Carolina Regional Teacher of the Year. So, and she's a social studies teacher, so she'll actually, I think she's going to explain how the educational plan within teaching of social studies in the school district. I think that's going to be very interesting, and she is. I think she'll also be fun to have with us. Okay. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.